Montana in the Pass area this morning. Skies will be clear to be sunny today with a high of 74. Mainly clear for tonight with lows near 50. For Wednesday, a mostly sunny day, the high 76. For the Inland Empire this morning, skies will be clear with sunshine through the day, high 76. Palm Springs, sunny skies this morning and through the day, the high 86. I'm meteorologist Jim Minaldi for Smart Talk 1490 KMET.
That's right. It's the morning show here on ABC News Radio, KMET 1490 AM. I'm Aaron Michael Sanchez. Good to have you with us. On today's show, we got lots to talk about. We got Mr. Jesse Sanchez over there making sure the control room is good to go, making sure everybody's doing what they need to do. And Jesse, how goes it?
Everything is going great. Oh, you know what? It's such a beautiful morning.
Isn't it, though? I'm glad you said that. I like that positivity, because the reality is it is a beautiful morning. It's a beautiful week, right? It's a beautiful week to be alive. It's a good day to be alive, and it's a good life that we live no matter what, right? Even during coronavirus, we still are making sure to practice safe social distancing, making sure that we're good to go with knowledge and information. But I got to say something really quick, Jesse, and I think this is important for everyone to acknowledge at least a little. If you go to an event, and at that event they check for your card, what are the prerequisites if you show your card for a vaccination for you to get in any said event? Is there any?
You know what? I don't know, because when I went to Vegas, there was a couple places that asked for vaccine cards, but you know what? They never actually asked to see them.
Okay, all right, that makes sense. Because I've seen like some people actually show just some of their stuff. They haven't shown everything, meaning like, they show like a copy of it or whatever. But I will say this, okay? I was at an event yesterday, and the president of our association, which is called the Hispanic Motor Press, suddenly said, sorry?
No, I said, yep, okay.
Oh, he suddenly says to me, he says, and I was weirded out by it, because he says, I'm going to go home. They're not letting me in. He says, evidently I got it. What did he say? Evidently I got my vaccine too soon or something like that. And I was like, what are you talking about? And he says, yeah. I says, let me see your card, right? So he shows me his card, right? He actually got the second, what they call the booster shot, on the 8th of November, right? Now, the lady who was checking in everybody said to him, evidently, you're not allowed in. You got it too recent, and you need to wait 20 days. Now, I was like the same as you right now. I was like, what? Now, they weren't checking temperature, right? They weren't checking anything else. All they were checking were vaccination cards along with your ID in order to get to the event, all right? Now, the weird part is, he's like, well, I'm just going to go home. And I'm like, we're the reason you're here. There's no way. And I was like, that doesn't even make any sense. So I went ahead and said to, why are you enforced? I said, I think you have wrong information. And the reality is, not only did she have wrong information, it makes no sense what she said. Now, I did say this. I said, I understand if he was sick with coronavirus, then, of course, there would be a mandatory anywhere from like 15 to 20 day holding pattern on that, right? Does that make sense? Technically, it's 14, as they say. But she kept saying 20, right?
Yeah, it makes sense.
And I said, now, if he had coronavirus, he has the vaccination card to show he got the vaccine. Granted, it was on the 8th, but you don't have to wait 20 days from that moment. There's no such thing. Right? I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. There is no, in other words, nobody has ever said the vaccination takes 20 days to take effect. I don't believe. I could be wrong. But
that's the first time I've ever heard that.
Yeah, nobody has ever said it takes 20 days for the vaccination to work. Now, it takes 20, it actually takes 14 days, up to 20 days, if you, like, okay, like, for example, you go to Hawaii and you're there just recently, you would have to, of course, isolate, right? Self-isolate. Like, there's certain areas that do that. LA doesn't have that for local residents, okay? He's a local resident, period, end of story. It's not like he flew in from another country, okay? So I was, how do I say it? I was weirded out. I'm just going to say that. I was weirded out 100%. And so she got a coronavirus test, which I was happy about. But because she got so flustered and so upset, all of a sudden she's like, well, I'm not going to test you. Can you leave? Please leave. Can you please leave? And I said, whoa, whoa, whoa. I said, all these other people are here, and there were a lot of people of all different ethnicities. I said, why would you suddenly deny us to be able to at least prove that he doesn't have coronavirus if you have the test right there? So I said, I want to see a manager. She came back within like a minute and a half. Said, okay, well, I'm just going to get you tested. And I was like, whoa, what just happened? So she tested him as one of those fast tests. Of course, negative. Duh. So out of all the people that I saw go through, and it was an outside event, I'm just going to say. It wasn't an indoor event at all. It was outside. Out of all the people, he was the only one that I saw that actually got tested. And it made no sense to me. So I was like, I don't understand where people are getting wrong information. Now, did she probably get wrong information from somebody? I would say most likely yes. So I would say before you guys get upset anywhere you're at, make sure you have right information ahead of time. Now, we had a great evening, and I broadcast it on my Facebook Live account. Some of you may have seen it. We went to the unveiling of the new Range Rover, right? Made by Land Rover, and of course from the great people over at Jaguar. Of course, we had a great interview even with the president and some other people, some other musicians. It was a great evening. We all had fun. But I will say this: if you have wrong information and you're going to bar somebody, even though they show you a vaccination card, it just doesn't make sense. And I said this to him later. I said, it doesn't make sense because technically that means a good third of the people here would technically have gotten it too soon, because the Johnson & Johnson just came out like 3 weeks ago, right? And he got it on the 11th, which technically, he got it on the 8th. He got it on the 8th, right? Which is technically 8 days later, okay? There is no such thing as waiting from that. Now, if you are deemed positive and or like you have a fever, they have a right to actually say no admittance. They actually do, right? But she was taking it way out of context. And plus it was his second shot. It wasn't his first shot. So the question is, like, even if you were thinking, oh, okay, well, you're outdated on that date of getting it, like, what are they going to do? Like, if you got it in February, now you're going to be like, well, now you're outdated. But then that's my other question. If they do that, which I could see them doing that because it's only like 4 to 6 months, maybe she got confused on that. But my point is, it was a doozy. And thankfully, he was glad he stayed in the end, but he almost didn't. He almost just said, oh, well, I guess they're not going to let me. I said, no. We stick up for each other. We keep each other in never in harm's way, but always for each other. So we had a great night because of it. We stuck to, our bootstraps literally to make it happen. But we made it happen. That's my point. So if you people out there are getting some weird stuff, make sure to let people know. Some people are not thinking with their thinking brain. I can guarantee you that. And I know you guys are listening going, that makes no sense. Why would they bar it? So, but there you go. So yeah, it is what it is. Rosalie Huerta Madrigal says, good morning and happy Tuesday. Good morning, Rosalie. Judy says, good morning, Aaron, Jesus, and everyone. Yes, Jesse's name is Jesus, so there you go. See, Jesus watches the show. Judy says, sunny and nice here in Walla Walla, Washington. Was frosty on my car windows, though. Came to babysit 2 of my granddaughters. Oh, and Judy actually watched the show yesterday when I live streamed it. Again, the Land Rover is an amazing vehicle already, but the design of the upcoming one is amazing. Now, I did get this. I got the, I would say it's an exclusive. The newer 2024 Land Rovers, which are not out yet, they're set to be all electric, by the way. That's a big deal. and they're going to put them on the bottom of the undercarriage, so or the chassis, as they would say it. So I'm going to say this: it's an amazing day when you have a big vehicle like the Range Rover have all electric. And he says, I don't know what the MPGs are on that, but I would pose this question to them. Next is what they call fuel cell technology. If you can do that, I can tell you right now, fuel cell technology, which we were talking about the other day, I checked out one of the cars that we actually gave an award to, and it gets 72 miles per gallon, all on hydro. Yep, 72 miles per gallon. That's unheard of even in electric standards. And it's as quick as fueling up your gasoline tank. There just needs to be more gasoline stations that offers it, right? And then we'd have everybody on the same page. It's really that easy. Stephanie Reed says, hello, happy editing this glorious sunshine, awesomeness, busy day ahead, and have a root canal this afternoon for today. Yikes, Stephanie. I wish you all the best. I hope you'll be good, and don't forget to get Novocaine. I remember my stepdad one time, he could not understand the dentist, because I guess the dentist had a heavy, heavy accent. And I think the dentist asked him, do you want Novocaine, right? That was a simple question. But because he couldn't understand the words that he was hearing, he said no. Well, he was found screaming about 8 minutes later, and he was, ah! And it was, so my point is this, yeah, never, ever, ever, ever not accept Novocaine. I don't care if you can't understand or you can't understand. Just say, I'm sorry, what did you say? Well, I'm sorry, what did you say? I'm sorry, what did you say? He had a heavy accent, I know that, but, you know, my poor dad. Let's see. Stephanie says, my mom went to Florida to see my sister, and the state of Florida is not checking vaccination cards. She had her vaccination card with her driver's license at the airport. Oh, there you go. Some people are taking pictures of their vaccination card. I can see people losing those and then being denied access all of a sudden. I can see that. So what I would say is take a backup card. And I think there's an app that allows you to go ahead and put it on your phone to show any said person. And that might be the best thing as well. So there you go. Patricia says, people in charge are afraid of making mistakes. The information changes rapidly. Not everyone is on the same page with this. I agree. I agree, Patricia. But when you get upset and you're like, can you just please leave? Can you just please leave? I'm like, no, you're not listening. We're trying to make sense to you. And the only way to get through to somebody is saying, let me talk to upper management. I guarantee you are technically low on the totem pole. And I hate to throw that out there, but if you're not going to do the right thing, that move aside and let somebody that is thinking with their head do the right thing. So there you go. And Rosalie says, kudos for sticking up for him. I think you mean, oh, there it is. Kudos. Yeah, no. Kudos for sticking up for him. And that's what we do. We help each other and we make sense together, okay? So if you have any weird stuff like that, be careful out there. People are not making sense entirely. But we had a great night, like I said, and we'll talk about the Range Rover in the coming weeks. But I will say this. It's all about the LA Auto Show. So there's going to be a lot of events this week. So if you are a car enthusiast and you want to be among the first to see some of these amazing vehicles, and maybe you're shopping or maybe you're thinking about saving up for a vehicle, we want your input. We want your questions whenever we broadcast. I broadcast online on Instagram, also known as IGTV. You can find me there. It's Aaron M. Sanchez. Also on Facebook. Very easily, I cross-promote and repost things. So we always appreciate your questions about said vehicles. And we do ask your questions of the said manufacturers. And perhaps there's something that you're thinking about down the line. The biggest thing, I think, for this Range Rover is a 7-seater. 7-seater and all spacious, by the way. All spacious. So, and very clean design. Very clean design. Judy says, it was a fun night, even if I wasn't there in person. But Judy, you spent time with us listening to the music and then some. I don't know if Facebook's going to ban it, because Facebook does that whenever it hears certain music. But that was good music, right? I don't know. Did you get to see the music, Jesse, or not yet?
No, I did not get a chance to watch it. I was able to watch a few minutes of it, but yeah, I eventually passed out. I was so busy last night.
Speaking of Jesse, I'm going to say this for Jesse and everybody. Can you guys say a quick little prayer for Jesse? I feel like this weekend started off on the wrong foot, because I know you were excited for Sunday. You were going to do a Magic the Gathering event, right, with the new cards, right? We all were excited for you, right? Because you were excited for that to happen on Sunday. But nobody knows the problems you had to undergo this weekend. I feel we just need to give it a little venting and then say a quick little prayer for you, because what happened exactly?
Yeah, so I was all excited to do the pre-release tournament and stuff like that. But yeah, so I went to get my I woke up early Sunday morning, and Went to my car to get something out of it, and I was like, I stopped midway because I saw glass everywhere. And upon looking up on my car, someone broke my rear vent mirror, or not mirror, what's the word? Window. So they broke into my car and they stole my anxiety medication and my work keys. No, they didn't steal my work keys. Yeah, those aren't work keys. But he stole a couple other things. But to be honest, the real purpose was they went to go for my anxiety medication because they completely ignored my wallet.
Yeah.
Didn't for the credit cards or anything like that. They just went for the pills.
Wait, where was your wallet at though? You don't have to say. Don't say. But my point is, I guess my point is, like, I almost want to hide my wallet wherever you hit it because I've had things stolen. I think if anyone has, I'm pretty sure everybody at least once in their life has been broken into and things stolen, which I say unallowed. How dare you, right? But unfortunately, it's a thing, right?
Yeah, it happens. I left something in visible range that someone could see, and they wanted it more. But to be honest, I feel bad because, like, out of all the pills that you stole to try and get high off of, those are ones that I do not wish on anybody.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, like if you've never taken these pills before, I would not recommend them unless you really, really have to.
Well, and honestly, it's a smash and grab, right? They just like quickly grab everything. I don't know how much they make in the end because it's a lot of work to have to resell those items. Like you might as well just figure out how to do it better and safer. But I almost like sometimes wonder, and that's why like I like dash cams, by the way, because some of them can record the going ons of who breaks in. Like if you had one of those that automatically goes on without them knowing, it would have recorded the whole scenario and you could have turned it into the cops and they said, okay, we can find these people, you know? Because a lot of those people, they don't wear face masks or anything. They just go in because they know nobody's going to see them because they're in the cover of the night. But these dash cams have night vision. And so I will say, you know, if anybody has one, invest in one. They're about $300 to $400, but they record your wherever you go. They record sometimes the interior if you want that, which I recommend, especially if you're a Lyft driver or an Uber driver or any rideshare person. You know, do that. They have some that even stream online. They're hard to find, but there's a few that do that. And if somebody hits you and runs, you can see that as well. Or if somebody, you know, I remember one vehicle that we had, which was the 4Runner. It got keyed, and we always had suspicions of who did it in the apartment complex. But we couldn't prove it. And I didn't think to get one of those because I didn't know they had them. And now I'm like, oh, should have gotten one. Could have proved who it was and gotten them, you know, in trouble because they're trying to get my mom in trouble. So that's, you know what I mean? Bad neighbors. You know how that is.
Oh yeah. I know how that is. But luckily enough, the neighbors in our apartment complex are actually really nice.
Yeah.
But you know what? I was totally devastated, and my whole day was just busy trying to replace everything that was missing, mainly my medication because that's the only thing I truly worried about.
Yeah.
But yeah, I learned it'd be cool if they have one that'll give you like a notice on your cell phone or something. Like if someone breaks into your
There is actually. There is.
Is there? Okay, yeah, I need to look into that because that would definitely be a great investment.
Yeah, and it senses motion on the interior, I believe. And so, like I said, I wanted to review that. So maybe we'll look more into that. Talk to Joel about that, maybe for him to kind of get his hands on some gear that we can test out and, of course, move forward. So there you go. All right. Well, Jesse, I will say this. I know you were looking forward to the Magic Gathering event, and I know I want to play Magic with certain people that actually know how to play this card game. And anybody that wants to learn, I want you to come out at least either to where you're at, Jesse, and or where we're at in Pasadena. I know you brought your lady out to Odyssey Games, and we had a really good, fun time. And then there was one time that I actually didn't show up, but then everything happened against me that very day. So I know what you're talking about. That's when I got my car accident. I was late for everything. It just was one of those days where, like, if you go out, expect trouble. And that was the day. And I missed Jesse, and I missed several other people that met me there all in the same day. I was like, I should have said, go home, right? That was the day I got in my bad accident. But anyway, at the end of the day, got a brand new vehicle, and I'm happy for it. So, also, we're going to show the new Volkswagen Passat. It's a very big beast, I will say that. It's not like the other Passats that have been around. I'll probably be broadcasting that as well around the corner while I have it. I have it until Friday. So we'll see some people's input and see where we go from there. All right, people, we got to take a quick little break. We got more coming back right after this, including what is going to happen for LA businesses. Are they going to be saved, especially around the corner when people might be ousted because they can't pay the rent? Yikes! Let's talk about that next here on The Morning Show. Stay tuned.
Together We Are Strong is a product brand which stands for unity, equality, and protecting voting rights. Shop now at togetherwearestrong.com for t-shirts, hats, and coffee mugs. All voting rights profits are donated to Rock the Vote, an organization on a mission to empowering young voters. Become an activist without saying a word. TogetherWeAreStrong.com. Make a difference in America and the world. Shop online at TogetherWeAreStrong.com. Give the gift that helps drive change. Go visit TogetherWeAreStrong.com.
KMET 1490 AM presents University of Redlands football. This Saturday, November 20th at noon, the Bulldogs meet Linfield University, live from Maxwell Field in McMinnville, Oregon. I'm Mitch McClellan. Join Brett Malik and me as the Bulldogs meet the Wildcats in round 1 of the NCAA Division III football playoffs. University of Redlands football broadcasts are brought to you by Gallagher's Finishing Touch Engraving, the gourmet pizza shop in historic downtown Redlands, Hatfield Buick GMC, Mattress Brothers, Terraconi Juices, Storage West, Savarino's Italian Deli and Market, and the Bulldog Bench. That's University of Redlands football action this Saturday at 11:45 a.m. for the pregame show, followed by kickoff at 12 noon. Live from Oregon on your home for Bulldog football, KMET 1490 a.m.
You're running out of letterhead. What do? Lithopass Printing. You need business cards. Now what? Lithopass Printing. Invitations to a wedding? Lithopass Printing and Banning is the answer. Lithopass Printing can provide banners, signs, and blueprints. Think of Lithopass Printing and Banning for quality graduation, birthday party, and baby shower invitations. Lithopass Printing also provides lamination, faxing, and photo prints. If you need it inked, make it Lithopass Printing. Lithopass Printing and Banning.
When it comes to health and well-being, cellular hydration is the key. You could say that hydration is the key to every wellness program. And structured water in its natural state, is the key to cellular hydration. Most of the water available to us has been processed for purity, safety, and convenience. But processing causes water to lose its natural hexagonal structure, with unfortunate effects for our bodies. Now you can take your personal hydration to a whole new level with the glassware that restructures water in just 3 minutes. Golden Ratio Products brings you these amazing water bottles, carafes, and drinking glasses which put the life back into the water you drink. Try it and you'll be amazed at the effects you feel in your body. Go to goldenratioproducts.com for the next phase of your water consciousness.
Back, yes, it is the morning show here on ABC News Radio, KMET 1490 AM. I do appreciate the comments on social media. Judy says, praying for you, talking about Jesse. And Patricia says, all it takes is appearance of vulnerability. There's a tolerance of criminality, almost like a sport by some people. There is growing issues of untreated mental illness. That is a huge issue as well, and I actually agree with that. It's very true. Let's see. Comments still coming in. Let us know where you're tuning in from as well. I know Rosalie is tuning in from Downey. We appreciate you. Walla Walla, Washington. Awesome. Appreciate you too. Patricia Summer as well says, hope the date is going good. And so that's all we can sometimes hope for, right, Jesse?
Right. I mean, I could either wallow in what they did to my car and the fact that they violated my property. But you know what? my windshield, my front windshield, already had a huge crack in it. So all it did was force me to replace it and the side window since it obviously needed it. So yeah, that's what I was doing yesterday. I was getting my windshield repaired.
Yeah, well, you're doing the right thing, bro. And that's no fun. That is no fun. Just getting everything fixed and then some. And you would think certain insurances would automatically cover that. They don't, because usually your deductible is way high unless you have full coverage, right? But I will say this: I got full coverage on the vehicle I have now because I am not going to be stuck with nothing at all. When you have limited liability like I had, it just, especially, you have to make sure even if you have limited liability on your used vehicle, people, make sure you have uninsured motorist vehicle. If an uninsured person hits you, I guarantee you will be made to suffer for long because there's no money coming from that insurance carrier because the person most likely doesn't have money, which is why they have no insurance, right? So I've been hit a total of about, I think, 3 people that had no insurance. And I was like, are you kidding me? And so there you go. You got to be very careful out there. All right. Now, having said that, a lot of questions around the world. What's going on? Well, we've got a few, including this one. LA County announced yesterday rent relief grants of up to $40,000 for small business tenants in unincorporated areas who have fallen behind on their rent due to the COVID pandemic. Supervisor Holly Mitchell hosted a virtual news conference to announce the program, which is funded with federal coronavirus aid dollars. Mitchell said the small business rent relief cannot come soon enough for the countless businesses that have had to weather the costly and unpredictable impact of COVID-19. As Los Angeles County starts to recover, our employers have been left with crushing amounts of back rent due. Yeah. I've talked to a few agencies and said, what do you think is going to happen about our businesses around the corner? And more importantly, what's going to happen with our renters around the corner? Mitchell said this will be just the first of many county projects targeting economic resiliency for our small employers. Now, if you want to be an eligible business, here's the very important information you need. It must be a brick and mortar business located in the unincorporated areas of LA County. That's number one. Number two, you have to have an annual average of 9 or fewer full-time equivalent employees. So in their mind, that is a small business. Although a small business should be technically anywhere from, as usually 30 to 40 employees. That's considered small business. So there's going to be a lot of businesses left out in the cold, so to speak, on that. You must have an annual total gross revenue of no more than $1 million. Now that also is a problem because technically, most small businesses, and again, it says total gross revenues of no more than 1 million. So that means what you pull in all together, right? So the reality is a good majority of the businesses, at least here in LA County, make anywhere from 4 to 8 million on average gross. Now, that's during pandemic. Before pandemic, they were making anywhere from 12 to 18 million on average. So we're actually underfunding the majority. So these are the small mom and pop shops, which again need help. So I'm glad it's something rather than nothing. I'm just saying it's not enough. We need to do more. That's all I'm saying. But for those that do qualify, you also have to be able to demonstrate a gross revenue loss of at least 25% over a 12-month time frame, falling at least in part within the period of the COVID emergency order that went into effect March 4, 2020, is still in effect. And I will say this, a good majority, about probably 98%, will qualify 100% because there's just no way you couldn't have been hit by coronavirus. Now, there's certain categories which actually did really well in certain like grocery chains, grocery markets, but not all. There's some that just did not do well, because everybody's spending less in certain areas, in certain neighborhoods as well. Some neighborhoods are thriving. If you go to Pasadena, it's thriving. Okay, I can tell you right now. But when I drive around, and I've driven around in certain areas, it almost seems like a ghost town in some areas, especially at night, because they close very early, either at 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock. I remember being at a comic shop, and I said, why are you guys closing at 4? I was like 4:30. They said, oh, because we got to get back home. I go, but people are getting off of work like after 5 o'clock, 6 and 7 o'clock, and 8 o'clock. You're going to get the majority of people. They said, well, due to coronavirus. I'm like, okay, that's a problem right there, because how are you going to be able to sell your products if you're closed at the time when people are out from work, which have the money to be able to spend for your business, right? I mean, I know a lot of people go get comics throughout the day, but that means either they work at home virtually, or maybe they're on their lunch break, or maybe, the kids are in school, or maybe they're out, right? And maybe the kids go by themselves. But if you have an open time of 5, 6, and 7, and 8 o'clock, at least you can take care of those said kids. So even with reduced hours, I don't understand the reduced hours, I'm not going to lie, because if you practice social distancing, the reduced hours kind of doesn't make sense. I understand like bars being closed at a certain time, but it's kind of confusing, if that makes sense. So in some areas, including restaurants, they're unable to get all of their daytime product and or services taken care of. So everybody's hurting in this way, and nobody's talking about it. But across the nation, we're going to have to do something more. Across the nation, here's what most likely will happen, especially in the next 3 months. And I keep telling people, you got to be prepared for it. The Moratorium Act is already expired here in LA County. Technically, it's supposed to be extended because Governor Newsom said he would extend it 100%. He got reelected, and he's done nothing with it thus far. Having said that, businesses are set to expire as of January. And still, nobody's talking about that either. In the reality of events, we're going to have more foreclosures in the year of 2022, so be prepared for that. Now, I say to people, opportunity usually presents itself in one of many ways. During the recession of 20, I think it was, when was the big last recession? They didn't want to call it a recession for a while, but then they did it with all the government bailouts due to the mortgage industry and everything, and the banking industry, right? All of a sudden, everybody was bailed out, right? Some would say that was in 2009 to about 2012, but we were in the mix of it, especially we felt the effects in 2013, 2014, 2015, right? And then we recovered from it pretty well. However, there's always opportunity. So I say, if you're going to buy anything or if you're going to save anything, save now and buy a property in the next year to year and a half, because prices are going to start adjusting so significantly that you're going to start seeing prices begin to take a dip. Now, I know it hasn't thus far, but nobody's taking into account all the renters and or space, which is literally left vacant. I don't know if you've gone into any business districts and seen about, on average, anywhere from 20 to 30% unoccupied businesses and or residencies. And residencies people don't really know about because they don't see the vacant lots, right? But as more people move in with each other, as more people buckle down, as more people say, hey, let's save our money, you're going to start seeing much more of this. And when it comes to businesses, this is definitely going to happen as well. Applications will be accepted for 8 days, starting tomorrow through November 24th at 5 p.m. And I will say this, get it now while you can. Applications will be assigned an equity tier, and a lottery will be held for each tier to determine ranking order. Yikes. That's called get it while you can, because they're going to be out of it. If you want more information, here's what you have to go to. It's ndconline.org, and then small business lending is where you're going to want to look at. Or you can call 626-210-4500. That's 626-210-4500. Supervisor Janice Hahn said, just because a business survived the pandemic doesn't mean they don't need help. Okay, I'm going to leave that alone right there. The COVID-19 crises and the health orders the county put in place to try to save lives hit our small businesses hard, and many of them still owe back rent. Yes, yes, and yes. This project is meant to give these small business owners some relief so they can get past the pandemic and focus on recovery and the future of their businesses. Now, I will say we're still in the pandemic. There is no past. So let's continue to do something for our small business leaders, and I know quite a few of them. And in speaking to them behind the scenes, I say, what are you going to do in the next 3 years? Because we have to have a recovery plan, and we have to have it soon. And I know the administration is looking at this, but they're not focusing on it right now, and they really need to get ahead of this. I believe, if anything, Kamala Harris, which I don't know why she's being spoken of bad in the news as of late. I haven't done the research, but I will say Kamala comes from a very, very smart family, and she knows businesses. So if they give her this task, she will 100% know exactly what to do. I think she saved a total of 8 businesses in her life, knowing how to buckle down, how to get a certain programs or what they call grants from certain agencies to be able to save your business. And sometimes you just have to scale down and then maintain, pay the bills. And I say, if you have to get a smaller place, get a smaller place. So don't go out of business. If you have to do a pop-up shop, do that. Well, we usually have Melissa Gonzalez, and I might have her come back on the show and talk about the future of business, because she was promoting about, I want to say about 3 years ago with us, pop-up shops before they were a thing. Do you remember that, Jesse?
Right. I had never heard of pop-up shops until she got in here. So
Yeah.
I don't know if she mentioned something, then it becomes popular. I don't know.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Well, she wrote a book on it, The Pop-Up Paradigm, right? And I will say this, now is the time, if you have a business idea or you have a shop, to go ahead and do exactly that, because you see so many different areas now, which it's called non-committal business, like really quick and really fast, right? And some areas lease out now their parking lots, right, for space, right, because it's outside, it's safe to do so. I see a taco stands all the time, or I just recently participated in some friends getting tortas, and evidently this family makes a lot of money because their tortas are like very, very thebomb.com at this area in Boyle Heights, and they have a legitimate, what do they call it, one of those food trucks with, the kitchen and everything very legitimate, and they get sold out every time. They were sold out by, I want to say, like 3 p.m. That's how like popular these well, I will say the family's business is in Boyle Heights, right? And it's in a little residential area, and no one would know it, to be honest, but evidently everybody knows it. So I will say there's ways to make it work, and if you can do it in a pandemic time, just like the Great Depression, you can succeed in the end. You just have to maintain. And if you maintain and you kind of minimize, if you have a restaurant, then get one of those food trucks, and don't go away. Don't go away. Have a food truck, make the same food there, and then travel with it, and then go in safe areas, and you could be ahead of it. All right, be outside. We need more outside areas as well. So do that. Think. Some people like to say think outside the box. I don't like to say think outside the box. Think beyond the box. The box is a confining space, but if you think beyond the box, think in the next 3 years, and say this to yourself: if coronavirus was here for another 3 years, how can I either A, find opportunity, B, make opportunity, or C, create opportunity for everyone? If you ask yourself that question, you're taking a worst case scenario, even though we all want to say, no, we're ahead of it, it's not going to be here. But then you'll understand how to reinvest your dollars, and more importantly, save your dollars to reinvest them, and then you'll be ahead of it all. Okay? So here's what I say when it comes to residential. In residential, there's a huge market in the next 3 to 4 years. But it means a lot of people are going to be evicted from their homes because there's a lot of foreclosures coming. Nobody's talking about owners of said properties, which are not residentially multi-dwelling units, right, where you have more than one person paying the rent. You have other people that honestly have not been able to pay their rent on their mortgage. Now, banks have had the ability not to evict anyone as of yet. But if that expires, you're going to see all of a sudden a huge short sale situation. There are going to be short sales all of a sudden on the market, and people are going to take advantage of it, and some people are waiting on that. The smart money investors wait on that type of thing. Okay, I will say if you're a first-time home buyer, I would say wait for the next 3 to 4 months. You're going to start seeing that happening, because I already talked to several real estate investors which have deep pockets, meaning they are already ahead of this, looking for certain properties in certain areas because they know it's going to happen. They just know it. So if you prepare like that, make sure, A, you're not the person that is evicted 100%. Make sure that you get ahead of that. But if you are, and you have like a 3-bedroom house, start Airbnb-ing that. Okay, people will pay pretty good for a said night or a few nights. This is why the hotel industry is hurting as well, because people are starting to stay in Airbnbs, because Airbnbs are actually cheaper, especially now in certain areas. And now there's glampers, right? Glampers is a thing. We have Jose Ulloa, who will be attending, I hope, this Thursday to talk about the glamper world. But people are making that into a business, and they're taking an open area space, putting a bunch of tents and or experiences that are, worth something, maybe anywhere from $80 to $180, a said evening, and people will pay that sort of thing. It's more outdoors than not. It's safe. You've got restrooms around the bend, and hopefully nice ones. I hate those little porta potties, I really do. But even back to the days of the outhouses, right? Are they willing to do those again? I don't know. But my point is, we have to think intelligently, and we have to say to the Biden administration, hey, are we ahead of this in our economic recovery program? Or are we doing funding to organizations and or things that are not going to help the recovery of our America? America is built on three things. One, the people. That's number one. Two, the people's people. And then the people's people's people. And what I mean by that is this. You and I, Jesse, are the people, are we not? We're the people that pay rent somehow, some way.
That we are.
Okay. Then there's the people's people. The people's people are the small businesses and the big businesses of the world, right? Those are called people that put you to work so that you could pay down anything and then some, right? Then there's the people's people, which is the rest of the world. We have to continue being ahead rather than behind financially. Now, I will say this. I just saw an article today, which I'm happy for China, but China is now the richest country ever ahead of America. Now, when you see China well ahead, you have to look at the history of China. China was not doing well in 1978, but they did something very important. They reinvested in their youth. They tested a bunch of youth and said, which of these youth have the most promise? We're going to give them free education, and we're going to get them ahead in the technology sector. Now, you look down the line to where they're at now. This is why, they have fantastic gaming, number one, right? Japan too, right? Who doesn't love gaming from any Asian country, right? They're ahead of it. Animation, the technology sector of chips, chipsets. There's so much that the Chinese have now, including oil, this is true, and or energy, and or fossil fuel, and or all the other things that line up, but they reinvested in their youth. Are we reinvesting in our youth? I would say no, not right now. But now's a perfect time to reinvest in our youth. Now we have the ability to do Zoom, right? How many people are now starting to learn at home? How many people are now figuring out, and I'm not talking about the youth, like, the 8-year-olds or the 12-year-olds. I'm talking about anywhere from 18 to 28, okay? Reinvest in the 18 to 28 youth of today. Offer free education for the next, 3 years, and see where we can get ahead in certain sectors. And I challenge the Biden administration to focus on this: energy for the future, technology for the present time, because some of the technology is really, really going by the way. I mean, there's so many things breaking down now because everything's being cheaply made, and manufacturing. There is manufacturing jobs if you make good manufacturing plants. But right now there's so much space of big manufacturing plants because companies have moved out of America. They've moved over to India. They moved over to China. They've moved over to Russia. They moved over to Austria. They've moved over to Germany. They moved over to Mexico. Now, if we're going to do something here on the home front, we need to focus on our major neighbors, Canada and Mexico. These are our neighbors. We cannot keep dividing ourselves from Mexico, because Mexico actually has a lot of manufacturing plants. And although people may speak out, we were about Mexico, like the past administration, I know the Biden administration doesn't talk like that, then let's make friends, not enemies, with our neighbors. These are our neighbors. If we work with them, we can be ahead of it 100%. Don't think for a minute that Mexico doesn't send a lot of product to us. So there you go. That's my story. I'm sticking to it. All right, people, we got to take a quick little break. Tell us your comments on social media. Do you agree? Do you disagree? We want to know. Let us know. We'll talk to you in just a few right after these messages. We got to pay the bills here too, you know.
Yvette Walker every Tuesday at 4 o'clock p.m. on KMET ABC News Radio, 1490 AM, FM 98.1, and Internet KMET TV for the Southern California Business Report. The show is dedicated to highlighting successful businesses and the individuals behind them. Yvette interviews the incredible people managing these enterprises that range from awe-inspiring sole proprietors to world-renowned organizations. The Southern California Business Report, Tuesdays at 4 o'clock p.m.
If you are facing criminal charges, your entire future is at stake. You need to act now to protect your job, your family, and your freedom. Call Wallen & Claridge at 877-4-NO-JAIL. Wallen & Claridge has over 30 years of experience in fighting for our clients' rights. With local offices in Riverside and San Bernardino, we are here to help you now. Call 877-4-NO-JAIL or go to wklaw.com. How much is your freedom worth? Call 877-466-5245. The call is free. Will you be?
Standard time is here. That means shorter days and cooler nights that make you want to stay inside. Don't get caught in the cold. Franklin Mechanical Systems can do a preventative maintenance check on your heating unit to get it working right. For cleaning, repair, or a new installation, call them for a free estimate. Franklin Mechanical Systems, for all your residential and commercial heating and air conditioning needs. Call their Beaumont office at 951-845-1000. That's 951-845-1000, and stay warm today.
The staff and families at Custom Care Solutions Caregivers take this time out to recognize and salute the Palm Desert men and women in uniform, standing tall for our political and economic freedoms around the world. Let's always remember them in our thoughts and prayers. Their efforts abroad and our support have kept America strong. That message was courtesy of your good friends at Custom Care Solutions Caregivers, 42201 Beacon Hill in Palm Desert. They're always working to keep our community moving in a positive direction.
Hello, listeners. Christopher here from The Christopher Show. Hey, I want to talk to you a little bit about CBD. Now, CBD is not approved by the FDA as of yet. Myself, as well as millions of other people across the USA, have used it with help for pain, anxiety, sleep, and other conditions. Now, you know, all CBD products are not equal. It really matters on where you get the CBD from. Now, I suggest you get it from a qualified pharmacist, and I happen to know of one. It's at Your Pharmacy and Mobility Solutions in Beaumont, California. They only carry pharmaceutical-grade CBD products of the highest quality. So if you want the best, you go to Your Pharmacy and Mobility Solutions. Their staff is there to help you with all your CBD, pharmacy, and mobility needs. They're located at 1680 East 6th Street in Beaumont, California. Give them a call, 951-845-8252. Once again, it's Your Pharmacy Mobility Solutions in Beaumont, 951-845-8252. Once again, it's Your Pharmacy and Mobility Solutions in Beaumont, California, 951-845-8252.
Welcome back. Yes, it is the morning show here on ABC News Radio, KMET 1490 AM, where we appreciate each and every one of you for spending time with us. There's a lot of questions. What's going on with Zantac? NDMA, a cancer-causing substance, has been linked to Zantac. So a lot of people are starting to be asked to come forward. Financial compensation may be available through a Zantac lawsuit for individuals diagnosed with any of the following types of cancers: bladder cancer, breast cancer, colon cancer, esophageal cancer, that's throat cancer basically, gastric cancer, intestinal cancer, kidney cancer, liver cancer, lung cancer, pancreatic cancer, prostate cancer, rectal cancer, and stomach cancer. Jesse, are you okay with this?
Oh, is that it? Is that it? Is there any other kind of cancer you can throw in there?
They're currently reviewing potential class action lawsuits in individual cases for Zantac users diagnosed with cancer. Now, according to allegations being presented, the pharmaceutical companies manufacturing Zantac have A, failed to properly research the side effects of Zantac before introducing the drug. Yikes. I always talk about this. I say be careful of the following symptoms. You never know what it's going to cause. B, they knew or should have discovered that Zantac exposes users to unsafe levels of the carcinogen NDMA. C, failed to give warning about Zantac's possible link to cancer. What? They knew about it? This is a thing I always talk to my mom about. I say, just because it's a manufactured item does not mean that in the coming years they don't already know this. And sometimes some actually, I'm not saying they paid for it, but some get paid off as research facilities. Then when you have an independent one that has nothing to gain from it, research it, you go, wait, what? And that's what they're going to have to do on this situation. And D, failed to promptly issue Zantac recalls or safety warnings for users and the medical community. What? It's a thing? Now, here's the criteria for the lawsuit review, and you can go to myzantaclawyer.com. Use Zantac, Zantac OTC, or generic ranitidine. Okay, that's the other name. And sometimes it's confusing when you get generic stuff, but basically that's Zantac. If you have exposure to the medication for at least 3 months and diagnosed with bladder cancer, stomach cancer, small intestine cancer, colorectal cancer, esophageal cancer, or other digestive tract cancers, then you may apply. Side effects of Zantac may have exposed users to high levels of the cancer-causing chemical N-nitrosyl dimethylene, also known as NDMA. Lawsuits are being reviewed nationwide for individuals meeting the criterion who are suffering from cancer. Now, Zantac was first introduced in 1983 as the first member of a new drug class of medication known as histamine H2 receptor antagonists, or H2 blockers. You've heard a lot about that. Zantac was marketed and used widely as a safe treatment for heartburn, acid indigestion, sour stomach, gastroesophageal reflux disease, also known as GERD, and other conditions. Now, it appears that the side effects from Zantac may carry a much more serious risk of cancer. So if you want to know about this and or you feel a friend has had a situation, ask if they've taken Zantac, and you might want to get into this big class action suit, which is definitely going to be reaming pretty soon. So there you go. But Jesse, you look surprised on this. What's going on over there?
No, you're surprised. I was trying to think. I was like, while you were talking, I'm like, what is Zantac? I was like, I know I've heard that word before, but I can't remember where.
Yeah.
And when you mentioned that it was a heartburn medicine, I was like, oh my God. I was like, I'm not sure if I've ever taken it before, so I don't know.
Yeah, well, and Patricia knows about this. She says whistleblower was a pharmacist who first reported it. Even then, it stayed on the market for months. You see that? Them are them apples. You got to be careful out there. Okay. Also, before we go, I want to notify everybody of this. The LAPD are investigating more than 100 cases of follow-home robberies. According to police, suspects target victims while they're out, follow them to their homes, and commit the robberies as the victims are arriving home. This is happening as robbery homicide detectives are tracking it, especially around Melrose Avenue, the jewelry district in downtown, high-end restaurants and nightclubs from Hollywood and Wilshire area. Officials say victims are being targeted based on the jewelry they were wearing or the car they were driving. Detectives say not all the cases are related in terms of the same suspect. Anyone with information, please call the LAPD at 1-877-LAPD 24/7. All right. Anyone wishing to remain anonymous on said things, 1-800-222-TIPS. Okay. Be careful out there. Okay. Watch your surroundings, watch around you, and remember, anything can and does happen all of a sudden. So be careful out there. Bye-bye, everyone.